Hi and welcome back to my channel. And today we'll be talking about list operations. It's going to be more of a hands-on thing, so let's dive right in. For this video and most of the subsequent ones, we are going to be using replit.com. So you don't need to install anything. You just go on replit.com, create an account, and you have your IDE. It's an online IDE coding environment. So I think Replit.com is really cool because as you code, you get to run it. You see the results on this console, and it has other functionalities. You can check it out. So let's dive right in. The first operation we're going to be looking at is using the plus sign concatenations for two lists. Let's see what that gives us. When we go run, this runs, and so when we use the plus sign for concatenation of two lists, it simply just extends the first list by the second list. Okay, so let's look at what list extend does. We have another list operation called dot extend method. Let's take a look at what it does. So we have list extend. Oh, so let's run it. What does that give us? Are we missing something? Yes, we are. Okay, so we go. Yeah, so for the to add a list from the end of another list, you can either use the concatenation, which is the plus sign, or you can use the dot extend method. Let's look at another method, which is the remove dot remove. Let's say list one, or let's define another list. Let's call it L. So we say this the remove two, and we print. So for this dot remove method, it removes the number 2 from the list. It removes the number 2 from the list. But when we use pop, the another method would be using right now is called the pop method. The pop pops the element on the index of the given input. Let's say we have L dot pop. Let's say we want to pop 2. L dot pop 2. It would be nice if we printed it. Let's print that. So pop would remove the element on the second index. It's going to print out the number 6. Remember, we already removed the number 2. So our L is remaining 136370. So when you pop 2, it outputs the number 6 because the number 6 is at index 2. Suppose we remove this statement at line 6. Let's remove the statement at line 6 and rerun. This print statement is going to output the number 3. There you go. You have it here. The last output, the number 3. And that's because 3 is at index 2 of list L. So to remove um, any item from the list or any value from the list, any number from the list, you can use the dot remove method, or you can use the pop. The difference between the both is that the dot remove method removes that particular input passed into the remove method, but the dot pop simply removes the number or the value in the index of the number passed into the dot pop method. Okay, let's move on. Just a little more. Let's look at another list. Um, let's look at how to join list. Let's say we have a list of A, B, C, and we want to join. So we're going to try to join using an empty space, and then we are going to try to join again using, we could even use a hyphen. Let's use a hyphen. So let's run this. So when you run this, you see that it returns, yes, it returns ABC for line 10, and then for line 11 it returns A hyphen B hyphen C. So we use the dot join method to join the elements in a list. And when we join these elements in a list, let's see what type they become. Let's see what type they become. Let's assign this to a variable. So we can check whether apparently the output is no longer a list. But to check, let's say we want to check. You can simply pass the type. Let's pass the type. Yep. Simply pass the type. Let's see. Oh yes, it's now a class string. Look at that at the console. You have the type of when you use the dot join method is it goes from a list to a string. All right, let's so the same way you can join elements in a string in a list and then they become a string. When you have a string, you can also split the elements. Let's take a look. So we have this string. So we are going to split the elements. So when we split by this less than sign, it means wherever we see the less than sign, we are going to remove it and add a comma instead. So whenever we split a string, the output becomes a list. So you see that here. Whenever we split a string, the output becomes a list. And we always split by a character in the string. It could also be the space. We could also split using a space. If we were going to split using a space, we'd just have this. Let's run that again. Okay. I did not eventually add the space. Let's go again. Right. So from the string, we have just one space between 3 and C. So that's where the split happens. So supposing let's say we have somebody's name. So yeah, let's use this name. So it's going to return a list of the alphabets in this name. Oh, I have some error. Okay, let's see. Yes. So this is what it returns. And using these fundamentals of list operations, you could creatively return something. So this is what it returns. It changes. So the takeaway from this part, from lines 9 to 14, is that when you join the elements in the list, it becomes a string. And when you split the elements in a string, it becomes a list. So let's look at another example. Let's look at sorting. What would be the difference when we sort? I'm going to comment all this print so that we do not have too many outputs. Okay, so let's do this. Let's run. So when we use the sorted method, sorted, it's just sorts the given it sorts the given when we use a sorted method, it sorts the given list. But there is another method we should try. That is the sort. We can use the L dot sort. Let's see how that goes. L dot sort. That will give us the same answer. But what's the difference? The difference is that one creates a new list while the other modifies the given list. Okay, let's check out L dot reserve. We also have L dot reserve. L, not reserve, reverse. L dot reverse. So this would give us the same output as the sorted and sort. So while using, if you want to rearrange your list, you might want to use sorted, sort, or reverse, but depending on your need. So that does it. So let's call A1 and let's write another variable B and equate it to A. So when you print A, let's print A. A for sure is 1 and B is also 1 because B is equals A. But there's something interesting let's try this using something that looks, yeah, we've passed the list for warm. We have these warm colors and hot is equals warm. If hot appends pink, let's see what happens when we print hot. Hot for sure is going to be warm, the list for warm, and then pink, right? Then we also see that when we print out warm, we also have the same values as hot. And that's because at line 28, we are literally saying that hot and warm are the same thing. Hot and warm are the same thing. So if we append uh, under color or under item to the list at warm, what it just says is that since hot and warm are the same, it updates that same value for the both variables. Let's look at another concept called cloning. So for cloning, let's put that down. Cloning. For cloning, let's say we have a list for cool and we copy the list. What chill equals cool from blue to gray does is it just copies the list. And when you print out chill after appending the color black to it, you have black, right? Blue, green, gray, black. But when you print out cool, it still gives you the original cool. And the reason is because at line 36, chill copies cool. He makes a copy of cool. So the chill at line 36 and the cool at line 35 are not exactly the same thing because at line 36, chill did not equate to cool. It equated to a copy of cool. I hope that makes sense though. So when we appended black at line 37 to chill, it appended it to
that copy of cool, not to cool itself. So that's why when we print out chill and print out cool, it doesn't print out exactly the same thing. Let's look at another example. This is the concept of sorting with mutation and without mutation. I talked about the dot sort method before. So let's consider line 48 and 49 for now. And for line 47, we use the dot sort method. So just like I mentioned earlier, the dot sort the dot sort method returns none. It sorts the original list and then it returns none. That's why we have for print worm, it's return the sorted worm list. But then for print sorted worm, where the dot sort method was applied, it returns none. So if we want to return the a sorted list, we should use the sorted method instead of the dot sort. We should use a sorted method. So for this one, like I said, it all depends on what your use case should be, what your use case is. If you don't need to return the sorted list, then the dot sort method is okay. But if you do intend to return a list, a sorted list, then you should use the sorted method. So for the sorted method, we see that sorted cool, when we print cool is not sorted, but it returns the original list. But when we print sorted cool, then it returns a sorted list. So that means that our dot sort method, right? It it adjusts or it sorts the original list and then returns none. So it's that means that our dot sort method works on the original list. It sorts the original list, it alters the original list. You can no longer get back your original list and then it returns none. But with your sorted method, it creates an extra copy, right, of a now sorted list and then the original still. So that's the difference between the two. Um, let's look at list of list. So we have this. We have a list of list. Okay. So we have a list of lists and let's run this. We have a list for warm and a list for red. And when we call warm in a list, it gives us a list of lists. When we print bright colors, we have at line 62, we already have bright colors warm in a list. That's we would have a list and then another list of warm inside. But now we append list hot. So now we have two lists in a list. We see that when we print bright colors. So when we hot dot append pink, we would have pink inside the list where red belongs. It will become the second in the first index. And that's because when we append when we append pink, pink is not in a list itself. So that's why it's inside the list for hot, the hot list just beside red. If we had to append pink from a list of its own, if pink had a list of its own, then that means hot, the variable hot will now have two different lists. So there you go. So that's all we'll be covering in this video. And in the next video, we'll be looking at conditionals. And it's also going to be like a hands-on practice then. So I would recommend you create an account on replit.com and come prepared. If you did like this video, please subscribe and like, comment, share, and I will see you on the next one.